close their eyes, and then 1, 2, 3, and then you open up. And that's basically how we do it. And this is the shot that we got. Now, you could do that with a strobe, but I guarantee you that I could have got that there in a few seconds rather than getting that bulky equipment out and everything. I'm not against strobes. I'm not against any kind of gear, but if you can do it easier and more affordably and quicker, why wouldn't you? Of course you would. This is going to be a fast-paced seminar, guys. So if you have a question, obviously based on what I'm talking about, please feel free. It's all good. Yes, sir. So what I prefer to use, the silver or the white side. Quite simply, it's whenever I need either. So if it's sunny, I usually use the white side. If it's, say, hazy or overcast, then I need more contrast. That's where the silver comes in. Now, it wouldn't be that most of you have a 5-in-1 reflector, right? You have a 5-in-1. Okay, so 5-in-1 reflector, and what is it normally? It's usually white on one side, black on the other. You unzip it, you inverse it, gold and silver. And what do you use the most? Silver and white. What a concept for someone to create a reflector that has silver on one side and white on the other, because how much of a pain in the butt is it to inverse it and then go from there again? Problem. Yep. So it makes sense. So guess what we had to do? When I invented this, and also in conjunction with Westcott, I said to the guys, we have to re-laminate the materials. So what we did was we have silver on one side and then we have white on the other, which means that what you use the most is always going to be there. Okay, makes sense? So it works out really, really well. All right, let's keep on going. Now, this is a common way that you'll probably you're photographing. So you've got this nice little rim and separation from the background. Then you've got the white reflector there, and then it's going to come back, and it's going to give us a beautiful glow of light. Many of you may have used a speed light for this or a strobe for this, but the reflector just makes it so simple and so easy. Now, what's not so obvious here? I was actually doing a workshop as I was doing this, and then the guy takes his hat off, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, that's a reflector. Do you see the reflector? Now, I'm not just going to shine it on him like this and take a photograph because that'll be stupid. I need an excuse for him to actually put the hat on. Like, what excuse can I give him to illuminate himself? He's about to put his hat on. So what I do is, you see all that crap in the background, I need to remove the distraction. I lay on the ground, I shoot upwards, then I get that beautiful rim, the sunlight hitting the back of him, separating him from the background, and he's putting his hat on, and then we get this perfect reflector. Isn't that crazy? Adorama is actually selling those hats today. I'm just letting you know. It's called the ice cap. You like that ice cap? Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right. All right. It's so funny that every time I photograph, whether in a workshop or whatever, whenever I'm photographing models, it's so funny because I often get the same complaint. Jerry, I wish we had unattractive models to photograph so you can show us how to make them look attractive. And I say, you telling me that I can't make this girl look unattractive? Well, no, she's beautiful. You can wave the camera at f22 and make her look beautiful. No, I can actually make her look not so attractive purely by bad lighting. There's bad lighting right there. Make sense? Look at her skin. Doesn't look that great. So what I want to do is, I'm not only going to show you, I'm mainly showing you how to use a reflector and a light source today, and a continuous light source, but you can find these in your existing environment. You can find them in your existing environment. So no sooner than I took a bad photograph of this girl with bad lighting to show my students that you can make her look not that attractive, I took a photograph like this, and people think, well, how did you get this with no Photoshop? Well, I was walking around the street, and I saw this translucent piece of glass. There was this beautiful glow of light in the ground. You can see it, right? And then we ended up getting this shot. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jerry, how do you get your brides to lie down on the ground? Your body language is written all over your face. I am telepathetic. That's what I'm saying. Telepathetic, you like that one? Okay, so here's the thing. What you might say to the bride is, I've got an idea for a photograph. Your dress might get dirty, but it's worth it. Can you sit down and lay down for me? I might say something like this. I've got an amazing idea for a photograph. What I'd like you to do is lie down, bring your body really close to the wall. I want you to bring your dress just up just enough so we cover up the naughty bits. Then we actually get your legs bent, slight bit of bend. I want you to arch your back, turn your face, chin up and looking right into my camera. What do you think? I practically made love to her, for God's sake, with my language, but I'm actually selling what's beautiful about that photograph, not about that she'll get dirty. Make sense? If she says, look, it's an expensive dress, I don't want to get it dirty, no problem. I'll tell you what we'll do. How about we put the reflector on the ground, you lie down on the reflector and I'll crop it out. What do you think? Fantastic. Let's do it. Make sense? All right, let's keep going. Sometimes you can find a reflector, a diffuser, like I said, like this case, in your natural environment. What you'll see now is a piece of translucent glass. You must remember one thing about reflections. The closer you go to a reflective surface with your lens, the more vivid the reflection. Watch this. All right, beautiful. Beautiful going home there. So you see how it was glass, right? It was reflective. Being actually translucent, you look at it and you see a reflection, but get your eye really close to the wall. Get that glass, get your lens really, really close, and you'll see things that you've never seen before. How about this? How about using the diffuser? So basically the Omega reflector that we're referring to here, you've got the diffuser in the middle, okay? The diffuser, of course, just meshes in the light. Light travels through it, and it softens the light source. Well, this is a bigger version of it. I was doing a fashion shoot for this company, and much to their horror, I ended up photographing in the backyard. You can see all the crap there, right? You get rid of it. I put a diffuser over her. I shoot through this piece of material, and we get this shot. You see those beautiful catch lights in the eyes? And don't forget, like, your diffuser can be such a powerful thing. Rather than overpower the sun every single time and bomb your subjects with flash, you can simply soften and diffuse them, and you get this beautiful light source. It's beautiful. It's very sexy, isn't it? Now, I want to show you a handful of photographs that I shot just on the weekend. 2 weekends ago in Jersey, actually. We came here on the East Coast, and a lot of us just backlight. This is straight from the camera, no Photoshop. A lot of us just backlight. So we get the sun hitting the subject, and we expose for the front and just hope for the best. What I like is a direction of light. I simply just get my reflector out in camera with no Photoshop. You can just make him look like it's a studio, don't you think? We often forget how good a reflector can be simply by just shining that sunlight back on that person, putting their back towards the sun. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't have to be a reflector per se, an actual reflector. You can use anything for a reflector. So I'm giving the girls an excuse to hold the actual dress to illuminate her, and that's the reflector. And of course, I conveniently place all the girls in a position where I can see them all. But anything can be a reflector. But how cool would it be just for a few scenes of your next shoot to bring out a reflector and do a shoot like this? Make sense? So you see who has the masculine light and who has the pretty light. So we've got him split lit, that's considered very masculine. She's turning her face in towards the light source. What do we say? Her face is turned away, and look how beautiful they look. Get him giggling, having some fun, take another couple of shots of him. He looked very like Clark Gable. He had this very Hollywood look about him, right? Very handsome guy. So we ended up, basically using that kind of light source. Anything can be a reflector. Anything. Watch this. Most of us do this kind of a shot where their faces are perfectly facing each other like this. All I did was I turned his face outwards, the sun hits his cheek, puts a beautiful glow on her face. Who would have thought that a cheek can be an actual reflector? You need to start to see the world a little bit differently. You can't wait for these things to appear on their own and hope for the best. So they wanted some shots in their reception venue before all the guests walk in. So I take this shot, a semi-silhouette, but I look at this glow of the cake. Now, where do you think I place them for the pretend cutting of the cake shots? Look at that beautiful light source. It hits the cake, goes back on them, and you'd swear that I set that up in, with a, light source or a bounce flash or something like that. Am I starting to get you guys obsessed with light yet? you've got to see light in a, like I said, I want you to look at light like water. Water, as you guys would say. I say water, and it sounds like the Bostonian accent. My wife's from Boston, although she doesn't say water like a Bostonian, but the Australian accent is very, very lazy. And it's so many people, lately it's been happening all the time. Jerry, the only reason why you get great photographs is because you have that sexy Australian accent. I don't have an accent when I'm in Australia. Makes sense? It's crazy. The amount of times when I order a Diet Coke from the waitress, the amount of times they don't get it. I actually just thought today, I want to do a compilation. I want to film every waitress when I order a Diet Coke and she has no idea. I just thought of it today, actually. I'm going to do it. At the end of the year, I'll do a montage. It takes twice for them to get it. Can I have a Diet Coke? What? May I have a Diet Coke? Oh, you want a Diet Coke? I'm like, okay, all right, fine. But I don't do that head thing. I just think it's fun doing it at the same time. So I want to introduce you. I know I've loosely referenced it a couple of times, but I want to loosely, particularly reference my invention, the Omega Reflector. I'm very, very proud of this, guys. Many of you may know that I invented the ice light several years ago now, and I'll be showing you some shots with the ice light as a continuous light source. But the Omega Reflector 360 is a second generation of the reflector that I created with Westcott. And you know what it is? It's quite funny. How often have you used camera gear and you say to yourself, damn it, if only a photographer invented that product, they would know what to actually do. Make sense? You start using products and think, why? If you're a photographer, you would know this wouldn't work or that would work. But anyway, let me show you. Most reflectors, would you say, have this little loop, yeah? In fact, every single reflector you own has a loop like that. How many times do you hold it between your legs, in your armpit? It only takes an actual photographer to think, let's just put a strap on it. What a concept. So you can put it around you, it's easy. Also, it has two pouches. Now, most of us have a 5-in-1. So let me just reiterate for those watching at home who just sort of tuned in. Most of us have a 5-in-1 reflector. Basically, it is usually white on one side, black on the other. You unzip it, you inverse it, and it's gold and silver. Inside is a diffuser. As we discussed earlier, the cool thing is we've changed the configuration of the material because most photographers will use a silver side on one side and then basically white. Rather than having to unzip every single time, it's a pain in the butt, takes too much time, where you've got this. So you can use it as a normal white reflector, you can use it as a normal silver and so on. The cool thing is we've taken out the hole in the donut and given you a mini reflector. So the cool thing is that if you want to illuminate a face and not the body, great. If you do detail shots, great, mini reflector. Or you slap it on and that's basically it. So the cool thing is that this is the world's first 15-in-1 reflector. So I'm going to show you quite a few uses of how this works. Yes, darling? So the question was, am I supposed to use this reflector and shoot at the same time? Well, it depends. If you have an assistant, hold it, great. If not, just put it on a stand. You can get a reflector arm, and I'm sure Adorama has plenty of reflector arms you can get. Basically, it's a light stand, get a reflector arm, and you can hold it, and that's basically it. I would suggest also, if you have a cousin, a niece, a sister, hey, come and help me out. Here's $50. Hold my reflector, damn it. Make your life easier. But there's no way you're gonna do this. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the little one, I mean, I just think you just should, I mean, you've got enough things to worry about with your camera. You get someone else for your lighting, you know? So, like I said, the good thing is you've got the three mini reflectors, and the cool thing is that they have their own pouch in there, and then you have this as well. So let me show you now a number of ways to use a reflector, period, let alone some simple ways we can use the Omega, which is really, really exciting. All right, let's show you. So a traditional reflector, as in just to be able to push in some light, let's show you here the difference. On the left-hand side, there was this soft open shade coming through, okay? That's just a no reflector. This is white. Do you sort of see how it's got a little bit more contrast? Look at the shadow on her cheekbone. So this was already quite beautiful light on the left-hand side. It was already quite beautiful. But if you want a little bit more punch and a little bit more contrast, you go the white. Now let's compare the white to the silver. Do you see the difference? So if you need more punch, this was actually light coming, the sun hitting the reflector going back on. You can see as soon as you go on silver or gold, then you're going to get this beautiful contrast, but depending on what you want. This is prettier, this is edgier, pick one. Then now let's compare the silver to the gold. I find if you've got a pale skin bride, you want to warm her up a little bit. You won't use gold that often. I find that gold looks amazing on African American skin. It just depends on what you prefer. Then let's go back to no reflector. And then actually we call it a black cutter, a gobo. Some people call it a black reflector, which is a contradiction, doesn't reflect anything. So if you put it on the black side, okay, so if you put it on the black side, which I think is this one, on the black side, okay, you're cutting away light. So that's what's happening there. So if you don't have a reflector and you want to add more contrast to someone's face or body, get the groom to take his jacket off and just hold it up to the bride. It's going to cut away light. Simple. Let's show you the mini reflectors now, what they do. This is no mini reflector, okay? That's nothing. That's a white one. You see the difference? Now let's go white mini and then silver mini, and then you got silver and gold. Just depends on what you prefer, depends on what you want. Make sense? Now, that's with nothing. That's open shade on the left-hand side. And that one there is the black cutter. Look at his cheekbones. Do you see how they're more defined? I mean, he has very defined cheekbones already, but that was simply just putting that close to him and cutting away the light. See, one of the signatures to my work, if you've seen my work, a lot of it, I want you to go back to my work and have a look that I often bring a chin up and tilt the face. Now, why do I do that? Well, light is usually coming up above. Putting a chin up like that is not really natural life. I tilt, we often do that. That's the way you hug someone. That's the way you kiss someone. That's the way you love someone. That's the way a dog looks when it wants something, you know? The cool thing about this is if light's coming up above, when you tilt your face upwards, this bridge of the nose allows light to filter through, hitting this eye socket. This now is positioned to round, therefore cutting away light, therefore creating the short side. Make sense? That's why I often do that, especially in overcast lighting. Overcast lighting, people think it's easy. It's like one big softbox. Just put your face anywhere. Stand there, whatever. No, there is a direction of light. You have to know that. The key, chin up, turn the face, and then if you can't see it still, rotate the person like they're on a turntable. You will find more contrast at one point. Make sense? Okay, here's a beautiful girl in really bad light. Okay, so we're backlit. Now, for some reason, the whole industry or many of the new generation, they're backlighting everything at 1.2 or 1.4. Whose eyeball is going to be in focus out of the family shots at 1.2, for God's sake? So we have to know our craft. We have to be reasonable as to when we use these things. But here's the thing. The main benefit of this, so this is like using a normal 5-in-1 reflector. Where it truly shines above most, pun intended, is when you shoot through it. That's where the point of difference comes in. Now, what happens? The theory is this. You have one light source behind the subject. You have this in between you and the subject. The light hits the back of the subject, hits the reflector, goes back on the person's face, and look what you get. All of a sudden, we're getting this incredible glow. And look at the catch lights. I do one of these kinds of shots almost at the start of every shoot. I show the bride how amazing she looks in camera. Hashtag it's all me. But anyway, it's all good. But you see how beautiful she looks, and look at the catch lights in the eyes are simply amazing. So again, we've got backlight. I believe you can backlight, but if you don't backlight unless you have a direction of light in the front. Now, yes, I can expose to them properly and everything will blow out ridiculously, or I can bring up the contrast in Photoshop. What I'm saying, though, is you simply bring this up and then shoot. I mean, that glow is crazy. I know what you're thinking. Well, Jerry, you've just manipulated these in Photoshop. These are all trickery. I'm going to show you a screen grab later on from this shoot of an NEF file, a raw file straight out of camera, so you can see exactly what the camera saw. So again, just don't underestimate the power of a single reflector. So here's the bride or the girl in the sun, very harsh. Then you put the diffuser over her, and then all of a sudden she looks incredible. You're probably thinking, yeah, I've had that reflector in my trunk, haven't used it, but I've brought out those friggin' strobes every week. You think of how easy this is. Now, this is basically her closing her eyes, no big deal. What you can do, you can create shapes. So in other words, you can put this and shine the sun through it and then position this in a certain way where it cuts shadow into her face and it looks incredible. Make sense? Also, you can actually take off the reflector part of it and use the diffuser with the hole. And then you see how you've still got a little bit of detail there rather than that deep shadow that we saw before. And how cool is that? Simply by using the shoot through. Can you shoot multiple people with it? Absolutely. You can just go closer to the hole and a wider angle lens and you can shoot 3/4. For the lady mentioning about the holding the reflector, you mentioned before, darling? Yep. So just, you know, an easy arm. I think it's called the illuminator arm. Is that right? Yeah, illuminator arm and illuminator arm extreme is this one. It has clamps, so you can put it on a light stand, you can shoot through it, and it's fantastic. How heavy? Not heavy at all. No, it's fine. That's not fine. Yeah. Here's the thing. You know, with sign writers, when you see sign writers produce signs, they deliberately put holes through it so the wind cannot blow it as much. It's built in. So yes, will it blow? Yes, but it'll blow less than a solid piece of reflector. So how many times also have you been in a situation, either you or your assistant, holding the reflector and they can't even see it? Because the reflector is reasonably big, but it's actually easily handheld, right? I'm not extending my arms fully. It's 40 inches. So if your assistant, who came here there with their assistant? There was a husband and wife team. Yep, so you said your husband is there as the assistant and he's doing a bad job and he's a pain in the butt. Why can't he friggin' illuminate properly? He can't see what he's doing because he's doing this and he's getting tired, whereas now he can because this is actually enough sweet spot to be able to not have to worry about shooting through it. You can see through it and your assistant can see what they're doing while they're shining. Make sense? Yeah, it's a little fun. All right. But again, you can sort of see how beautiful that is. Now, we talked before, the lady also mentioned about being in the apartment, it's too sunny. Check this out, right? So you can get the girl right up close to the window. There she is. Now, she still looks good, but maybe we can make her shine brighter, per se. Now, how did I do that? Quite simply, I grabbed the suction cup that's included with the Omega reflector. So there's the suction cup, and then we just put it on the window, and then it becomes this beautiful softbox. Any questions at this stage? You're totally regretting not using your reflector all these years, right?
So that's direct light, reflecting ambient light?
So that's sunlight coming through the diffuser illuminating her. So if you look at the sun one, that's direct sun. Yeah, same. He hasn't moved an inch. There's simply just no reflector there. Okay, so what else can you do with this reflector? Well, the sun's coming through a window like this. So I saw an ottoman, I thought, I'll just use it as a background. I positioned it up, put it right up against the wall. She was actually sitting down and actually resting. Actually, we've got our two guests there that haven't got a seat. Why don't you come over here, please? Come over here. Please come. Yeah, you're not going to stand up in another hour or so. Come on, man. Please. You've got the... No, man, you're cool. You're cool. Hey, Don, go on that seat. And you can just, take a seat right there. Make sure that you're not covering anybody. Life is good. We're all family now. All right, no problem. So here, what I do is I bring this reflector, just come a little bit this way so this gentleman can see a little bit more. Just a bit more this way towards me, a bit more. Can you see it? Okay? All right, great. So then we place this in a way that I can actually shoot through it and check out the glow that we get and the catch lights that we get. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jerry, that's an awesome idea. Why even friggin' buy the Omega? I'll just cut a hole in my reflector. Here's what's going to happen. I've tested this, it took me like a year to get this second one right. When you cut the material, it'll start to fray. When you use it and fold it, it'll start to fray. Also, what you don't get is the benefit of having the mini reflectors, because you just got little pieces of floppy material now, right? Out of nowhere. This becomes a whole new product line. In other words, you've got mini reflectors. Now you say, why would I need a mini reflector? As we discussed earlier, if you want to illuminate someone's face only and not the body, for example, or you want to do detail shots and punch back light in those rings and detail shots on the tabletop, this is all you need. Make sense? And then you can just put it in your pocket, and then you can bring it out and then illuminate that, whatever you want to illuminate. Also, you don't get the pouch with the 2 zips, you don't get that the strap on the reflector, and you don't get that suction cup that we discussed. But anyway, all right, so what else do we get? Beautiful catch lights in the eyes. How did I do it? There's no Photoshop done to that shot. That's purely just out of camera. The sun hit the reflector, goes back on her, and it glows beautifully. Why is it a prettier light source? It's pretty because it's just flooding. We're filling up in all the cracks, so to speak. Think of, like I said, the mature lines, all our lines in our faces, we're filling up that with light, and it makes everything look softer. It can be directional, but this is just an easy, clean beauty shot that you can get very, very quickly. Yes, sir? I'm normally shooting with a 70-200, sometimes a macro, if I want to get really, really close. If I want to see more of her body, like this, I simply just bring the reflector out a bit and work out that best combination and go a bit closer to the hole with my wider angle lens. So you can easily do 3/4 shots. Can you do full length? You might as well use a reflector like a normal reflector. This is meant, like the shoot through part of it, that's what we call just a beautiful, soft, gorgeous beauty lighting. Now, I saw some light in that same room hitting the ground. It was sunlight. So what do? That's okay. But then I simply just use the diffuser part of it, and that's like just huge softbox. And how did I do it? That's it. And I stood on a ladder shooting down, and you see how beautiful that light source is. Make sense? But that's what I love, is that you can get a predictably good, beautiful beauty shot of no matter who is in front of your camera, they're going to shine brighter with this. Pun intended, and in the way I'm actually explaining metaphorically. How did this happen, and what's that green? Well, Melissa, my wife, I said, hey, just rip off a couple of leaves from our garden, and she just puts them over there like that. And that's how we get that little green sort of just, mirroring the color of her eyes as well. We're selling those leaves today, by the way. I'm joking. All right. But you can see what difference it makes. So here's something else you can do with this. If you do shoot with a strobe, and you shoot, who has strobes in the studio, like big strobes, softboxes and things like that? Can I tell you, I find no better softboxes than the Westcott ones. They're actually affordable. They're great quality. You can get a 5-foot octabox. It's just so friggin' easy. And so what I do is, so you have your strobe, have your 5-foot or 7-foot octabox from Westcott. And what you do is you bring your subject close to the softbox, then bring this in front of them. Can you picture what's going to happen? That softbox is going to become my white background. Check this out. I love this look. So you see that Hollywood style, those Hollywood portraits that we see all the time now on movie posters, how you've got that contrasty bit of white on either side of the body and the jawline. So the light hits on either side, you get this incredible catch lights, and this is how it was done. But I love the fact that the light can filter through and that sort of bleeds off different parts of the body and things like that. It just works out really, really cool. Again, a very easy, predictable way to get a great beauty shot. And the cool thing is that, again, you can do like these 3/4 shots very, very simply, very, very easily. Any questions? You all cool? All right. When I did the original test shoot for the Omega Reflector 360, I deliberately chose someone with freckles. I wanted to give you, the audience, an impression of what it was like to photograph with the Omega with, let's say, emulating bad skin. I'm not saying, I love freckles, they're beautiful, but I wanted to give you the impression that a freckle could be blemishes on a skin tone. Now, all these shots, by the way, that you're seeing of this girl, there's no Photoshop at all, okay? They're straight from the camera. But watch what happens when I have the Omega between us. I shoot through the Omega, we've got one light source behind her, and all of a sudden, the light turns on, and that was it. Isn't that crazy how that can happen? How did I do it? I simply had one speed light behind her, shot it behind her, hits the reflector, goes back on there as well, and you shoot through. But most of you are wondering, I've actually never seen Jerry's legs before, but that's okay. But that's the difference. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, I showed that 3/4 shot. You can use a reflector with full length, but the true power and the beauty of shooting through it is going to be like head, shoulders, or 3/4, like I've showed you a few times already. Now this one, what did I do? I had one speed light behind the subject. It hits the back of her, hits the reflector, goes back on her face. This time we got her makeup on. We wanted to show you the difference between a raw face as in no makeup and then with makeup. You see those Christmas lights in the background. I exposed for them first, them out of focus create a beautiful bokeh effect, and with no Photoshop out of camera, we get this shot. You know it's out of camera. I would have retouched that hair. I would have retouched her skin a little bit, the blemishes on her neck and so on. But you sort of see how beautiful those catch lights are. And if you look closely at the catch lights, being Greek and very a proud Greek, there's an omega symbol in those catch lights in the ice. Isn't that cool? It's a little bit of fun. All right. There's a beautiful girl in bad light. What do you think of her there? Now, you want to shoot with the omega? Let's get the omega right in front of her. Let's shoot right through it and check this out. A few seconds later. Crazy beautiful, right? Crazy. And that's how we did it. Simply, you might say, well, Jerry, I can see the shadow. Well, we're not photographing on the shadow side. I'm actually shooting right through. So I'm getting that full front light flooding her face. Now, for those of you who don't believe that was actually, maybe I've retouched it too much or something like that or whatever, then I want you to look at this is a screen capture that I did. You can see what I've done after the fact. The part of her bust line was a little bit too much there with the one piece. Her hair I retouched, but that is for those of you who know, this is actually photomechanic, and there you can see the raw file of screen capture. Pretty cool. Here I think I did. Yes, I believe I did. Yes, the silver side's on the other side. So guys, the Omega reflector is being sold through Adorama. I believe you can buy it today. Is it on your way out? Is that right? And they can ship it to you for free? Yep. So it's $129.90. So $129.90 gets you the world's first 15-in-1 reflector. You will get this. You will get the 3 mini holes in the donut, or the reflectors inclusive already there. You will also get, I believe it's the first ever reflector case with a strap. What a concept that is. And then the 2 zippers. And then, of course, you actually get the suction cup as well. All right. Are we cool? Put your hand up if you haven't used your reflector in a long time and that's inspired you to be obsessed with light and also use it from now on. All right, guys, use your reflector. It's right there for you every single time. If you want a predictably awesome shot of everyone in front of your camera, the first shot that you shoot is through. And the ability to actually use the mini ones as well are fantastic. So like I said, please support Adorama for doing this seminar. This is like dirt cheap. It's like 20 odd bucks to be here. So please support them. You can actually use that as a voucher, I believe. Is that right? Yes. Yeah, so you've already got $25 as a voucher that you can use to buy something from Adorama. It could be the Omega as well. So please support them as well. All right, so making the most out of your portable continuous light. Let's switch gears here a little bit. Do you guys, who has a portable continuous light source? Put your hand up if you do. Okay. All right. Keep your hand up if it's a nice light. Most of you. So you know the power of it, right? You bring it out. Why is continuous lighting really, really good? Here's the thing. And people ask me often, Jerry, when do you use a speed light and when do you use a continuous light? I use a speed light simply when I need more power. Why I favor a continuous light, if I can do it, is because I can see what I'm doing. It's very, very easy. It's very clean. It's very, very simple. Make sense? So let me show you. In fact, I want to remind you now, although I'm showing you many examples of the continuous light, obviously with a light that I've invented, I want to remind you that it doesn't matter what the light source, if it illuminates, use it. No better example than what I'm about to show you right now. This next example. I remember I was doing a seminar in London and I was showing a lot of before and after examples. I was showing terrible situations that I had to deal with, and then I show you a pretty cool shot that I got out of it. I had this elderly gentleman put his hand up and he says, Jerry, if you're so good, create a great shot right here, right now. I said, no problem. It's only a seminar. Don't have to be that angry, but I'll do it for you. No problem. So it wasn't a shooting seminar, but I said, anyone got a camera? So I got a camera. So then I was looking around me. I'm like, what can I use around me? And this is the way I like to actually make people understand how you can create a great shot out of anywhere as long as you're looking for it. So I looked all around. The very projector that was illuminating my presentation, I thought, that's a light source. So I went on the internet, I find a skin tone on one of my photographs. I zoomed up to a very nice pale skin tone. Make sense? Maybe 4,000 Kelvin degrees, 4,500, something like that. Nice, warm, beautiful glow of light. So I had one of my students hold the projector light wherever I wanted. That was my light source. The very table that projector was sitting on, I knocked on the material. It was a piece of wood. I lifted up. It was a crappy piece of wood, old piece of, like, you know, a wooden table. The very glass of water that I was drinking from, I decided to pour the glass of water on the table. Can you picture this right now? Crappy old piece of table there, water dripping. One of my students was holding it as a light source. I found one of my students right in there was a pretty girl. I got her to kneel on the ground, put her chin on the table, tilt her face. So I had these elements to work with. And this is the shot that I got. One click. Let's just say he shut up. And I didn't do it to be smart about it, but it was more like if you're forced to find something in and around you, you'll probably find it if you're looking for it, but many of us are not looking for it. I had another guy come up to me, a groom, saying, I love Godfather, Scarface, and whatever. And I don't even know why he told me, but I walk into his bedroom, and his bedroom was a shrine to Scarface, Godfather, all things gangster. So I took a picture off the wall of, you know, Scarface, Al Pacino, and Marlon Brando. I shot a video light on him, and I shot the montage in the glass and got this shot. Isn't that fun? That was his favorite shot of the actual whole wedding. Forget about the bride. It's all about me. Now that brings us, like I said, guys, please don't see this as a glorified commercial for the ice light or whatever. I don't care if it illuminates, use it. I was once doing a seminar, maybe a few of you in this room may have seen it. I literally got 1,000 people in the room to get out their phones and actually turn on their lights. That became my Christmas lights in the background and that beautiful bokeh effect that went out of focus in the background. If it illuminates, use it. I don't care what it is. If you want something predictable, predictably beautiful, and you know it's going to be bright and it's versatile, then this is where the ice light comes in. The ice light 2 is 50% brighter than its predecessor. That's pretty bright, isn't it? I'll just keep on just shining it at you, then you'll know how bright it in fact is. It's bright. So here's the cool thing. Why did I design it vertically? For one thing, I'm a Star Wars fan. I grew up with Star Wars like all of you guys, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to have a portable light that's cylindrical in nature? Now, why is that an advantage? If you hold a light like this to a subject, it's going to be sharper and contrastier. If you hold it like this, it's going to be softer on me. Make sense? You can just have one light source, like either square or rectangle like everyone else has, and you can put it wherever you want, but quite simply, this is like drawing the blinds back, like close the blinds, a little sliver of light, that's contrasty. Open up the blinds, softer. What do you want? Pretty Jerry or sexy Jerry? Which one do you want? So that's why we did it. And now, of course, you can dim it up and dim it down. Cool thing is that Westcott have an app that enables you to dim up the light and dim it down as well. You can pair it with your mobile phone. And if you have all these lights set up, one hair light, one main light, whatever, you can dim it up and dim it down. It looks really cool. It's actually really fun freaking pressing your phone as the lights go up and down. Some of you may remember the actual commercial that I did of me running around and my mum at the end, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Question, mate? Can I what?
Can you the Kelvin?
Can I change the Kelvin? No, it's daylight. Yes, you can actually put a gel on it as well. Yep. See, here's the thing. Most of us, we want to actually maintain the ambience with what we see with our own two eyes, right? So if let's say you go to Times Square and you want the lights in your photograph to look like the way they look like, you shoot this with a daylight white balance. The cool thing is this will be great for the skin. You can see how my skin looks, the tone that it is, just a brighter version of it. But the cool thing is now it's actually going to maintain what you see with your own two eyes. So I would prefer a brighter light source with daylight than be able to, we were discussing to use this like an RGB where you can actually do any color of the rainbow. The problem is the quality and the quantity of light is not going to be as powerful. That's why we didn't choose that way. But anyway, so life is good. All right, let me show you now a few examples now of how to use the ice light. And like I said, don't look at this as purely the ice light. If it illuminates, you can use it the way I'm actually showing you. If you want predictable beauty, predictable quality of light, then certainly the ice light's a great choice. So let's have a look. Can you use it during the day? It'll never overpower the sun. It'll never overpower the sun. But if you're in overcast and you have the light close enough, then you can get a great, beautiful little kiss of light there, which looks really, really good. Make sense? Just last week, we were in Chicago. It was raining all 2 days of the 2 days that we were supposed to shoot. We were under a bridge. We were it was a tough situation, but we just had the ice light. We played. It was lots of fun. In fact, I'm going to show you a few shots you haven't seen before. Here, what I did was, how cool would it be to actually just wedge the ice light on the rearview mirror and then shoot through it and then get a shot like this? Isn't that fun? And that's the cool thing about it, is that it's actually small and portable. In fact, a lot of TV studios are using it. We've had movie studios use it. We've had, one of my claims to fame and one of the best moments of my life was Sir Richard Attenborough was illuminating his path on a documentary on an island using the ice light. I'm like, oh my God, I can die right now. A night he's using my light, for goodness sake. It's fantastic. So pretty cool. But you can see, like now, and I block out that light coming on the top, and then I contain your eye in, giving it like a natural vignetting. Make sense? No, I didn't use a polarizer. I just made sure that I'm not in the direct path of the reflection. But because the lighting is beyond the glass through them, and everything else was dark, it was totally fine. But you sort of see what we can get. I squatted down a little bit, got that beautiful bokeh effect of those leaves and the highlight coming to the hint of that orange to contrast the mirror. And then cool for you guys, the viewer of this image, to be able to find the moment, as in give you a while to look for it, and then we get this image. Isn't that fun? Where are you? There we go. I just love this little pointer, so I've been dying to use that feature because I just got it. So I'm like, any reason for me to do this, I'm going to show you. So, oh, wait a second. Let's just have a look at this one. There it is. It's fun, isn't it? Guys, what I want you to do is practice. Who shoots for a living? Who shoots to make money? Okay. Do you ever expect to get better only photographing on a paying gig? Does Roger Federer only practice tennis at Grand Slam events? Who are we compared to his talent relative to what we do for a living? He practices every day, and he's widely considered the best tennis player who ever lived. How do we only practice our craft only on paying gigs? How do we expect to get better? If reflectors are your weakness, if continuous lighting is your weakness, if something's your weakness, make it a strength, practice it. To this day, I will do practice sessions frequently, several times a month. I love it. I'm obsessed with light and I'm obsessed with creating. This next series of shots was just done last week. There's no Photoshop, straight from the camera. So basically, the sun was going down. This is actually just some glow of light on the wall there. And then I placed it behind, and then we got a relative silhouette of the groom there, of the guy, and a little kiss of light there as well. Then it was raining. I'm like, what am I going to do? We're underneath the bridge. Look how excited my assistant is and actually holding that light source. All good. So I split light him. Split lighting is when lighting comes from one side, not the other. And I split light him. And then I thought to myself, okay, not a bad shot. Pretty cool. By the way, this screen is a bit contrasty and it's showing a lot of detail where it shouldn't. But anyway, you'll see that there. Then I thought to myself, how cool would it be to actually put my white balance to tungsten? Watch this. Looks cool for a guy, right? Very cool for a guy. Then I thought, wait a second, this is like a Calvin Klein commercial. Let's just get the girl in. I'm going to get her really close. The light reflects off his face, goes back on her, and you see that glow is coming from that light source, and that's how we did that shot. And then crop differently, crop closer. But isn't that fun? Or we can get a shot like this. So you can see how very flat lighting, right? Nice location, nice pose and all, but you need a kiss of light. I can get the flash out, but all I can do is get my eyesight out, and within seconds, I can see what I'm doing, and I get the shot that I want. Catch lights in the eyes are great. Life is good. Any questions so far? Yes, mate.
A lot of variation in the situation. How many kind of work?
Sure. So the question was, how do I'm shooting in one situation, like one direction, but then how do I maximize the opportunities in and around all the location? I guess that's just it. I've implied the answer. Most of us, what we do is we're a single shooter. We set something up and we shoot very dimensionally. Do you have a second shooter? Do you hate it when they get a better shot than you? You love it, but here's why they often get a better shot than you. You've got the pressure on you. You're taking that shot there, you're posing them, and they're walking all around with no pressure, often smoking a cigarette, with no pressure, walking all around and seeing things that you don't see. Here's the thing. I don't rely on a second shooter, so I pose my subjects. I don't think about the wedding album or the portrait album, whatever genre that I'm doing. I don't think about that album until I take that first shot of that scene. Once I take the first shot of that scene, now I say to myself, what's going to be on the spread next to it? So then either I just crop closer and change my perspective, change my lens choice, or press the pause button, pretend they're on a turntable, because if the light's coming good from here, and this way is a great angle but bad light, so your assistant might get a good angle but not bad light, I press the pause button, so to speak, and I will turn them and then take another shot. See, most of us, we get obsessed. We see a beautiful bride, and we sit there and we photograph 50 or 100 photographs in one scene. Admit it, you do it, don't you?
Definitely.
I fall in love with every bride that I photograph. I fall out of love by the time I get home to my wife, but that's the most important thing. So take that shot, 1-2 shots, then say what can go with it. I'd rather you take 4 or 5 shots better than 50 and still only choose 2. How many people in this room, admit it, take a shot that you know you're going to delete the second you press the shutter, even before you press the shutter? Well, there's a crappy shot. Let me take it because I'll delete it anyway. You do it. You click it every single time. Why click it? It's just laziness. It's just not being confident. So I maximize it. Now, recently I had the pleasure and honor of photographing the Nikon D850 campaign. Let me come to that. Yes, darling? Sure. Yep, I think I showed you before, but let me show you again. Just there. Yep. Yep. Look at the shadows. They normally tell you where it is. So I had the pleasure and honor of actually photographing the D850 campaign. It's a landmark camera. It's been a dream of mine to represent Nikon on that kind of a level and scale. So I was chosen to photograph for the wedding and the fashion campaign. This one was for the wedding campaign, and the light was going in beautifully, but this is how it was actually done. Wait a second, I've got my really cool super duper glow there. So that's the actual light, giving her a bit more of a punch there. And that's how it was done. So if you want to feel pressure, try 30, 40 people watching you as you're doing what you're doing. But you can sort of see, though, if I want it brighter, for example, now I'm adding a bit more contrast where before I didn't. But again, guys, you can see what you're doing. See, if you're inexperienced with lighting, if all I said to you was hold this light and illuminate the girl and make her look skinny from this angle, you wouldn't even have to understand light. All I would say is just stop where she looks good. If I said hold this light and illuminate her face, stop when her skin looks nice and soft. It helps you understand. With flash, bomb, 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 bomb. Okay, I'm happy now. Don't get me wrong, when you're experienced, it doesn't matter. You can predict where the light's coming from, you can predict what it looks like. But it helps you understand light. This shot, how did I take this shot? Well, it's with 2 ice lights and 2 barn doors, or 2 barn doors. One from the front, one from the back. The barn doors are amazing because they can just control a little sliver of light. They're really, really fun. And like I said, you can get some beautiful shots. Like when you're out in your environment, you want a little sliver of light on her face, then you expose for the ambience because I can't really control that per se. I can control it with my exposure. And then I get that little sliver of light, doesn't really touch the rest of her body and her hair, and that's how we get that shot. This one, again, easy, just 2 lights. One from the front, one from the back. That little kiss of light in the back, separating her from the ground, and I did the same thing, one from behind, one from the front. And also use it in conjunction with window light, for example. So let's say, for example, there's a window and it's not bright enough, get that ice light right where that window is and then punch some more light through as well. One of my favorite ways to shoot with the ice light is actually using two ice lights. Cool thing is you got one on the top, one on the bottom called clamshell lighting. You've probably heard that before. Important that you actually don't get the bottom one brighter than the top. They at least have to be equivalent, if not that one a bit brighter if you had to, but at least equivalent. The cool thing is that it just softens everything. No shadow, very soft, very clean, very pretty. This one here, how did I do this one? Well, one ice light behind this frosted piece of glass, and then we shot through, and that's basically how we did that shot. Cool, cool. If you want beauty lighting, quite simply, hold it horizontal to your subject. How do we do that? Just one light. That was very, very dark, that room. Just one light source. Beautiful cheekbones come out, nice little shadow underneath the jawline, and life is good. All right, now let me show you a little piece of video footage of using the ice light. Chad?
I know when you always see your videos, you always see you take one shot, of course, for time purposes. So when you're actually at a wedding and you're shooting a bride like this, are you taking more than one shot of the shot, or are you experienced to the point where you can just take the one shot and you're...
So the question was that when I'm actually shooting a bride in a real situation, and if I'm photographing her, do I... Because when you probably, obviously, you're a member of my educational website, the Eye Society, and you'll see me actually shooting a bride, and you may think I've cut out the edit, like I've edited it out, and I'm not showing you the rest of the footage. When you see me shoot 3 or 4 shots, that's basically it in that scene. I'm done. So typically, what I'm showing you in those videos is exactly what I've done, but I typically shoot a lot less than what you probably think. If we have time, what time is it now? Okay, I want to be able to play. I want to do some live demonstrations in a second, but I might give you more of an understanding of exactly how I work. Quite simply, I shoot less and make them count. The key to great photography is slowing down. That is the key. You came to my workshop, you know what it's like. The biggest problem with most photographers, lack of confidence, is the number one problem with photographers. They haven't practiced enough, and they go too fast. So I say repetition, experience, practice, and a Jerry Ghionis workshop are your best teachers. Yeah. Do you like that one? Repetition, experience, and practice are your best teachers, and slowing down. That is the key to getting better. Too many of us, what you think, and this happened about 10 times I heard this from my students, Jerry, I think that the couple thinks that I'm not good because I'm taking too long. We are putting thoughts in our head of what thoughts are they supposedly in their head. Whereas if I walk into this room and I'm freaking out like this and I'm going fast, then the energy is like all a bit freaky. Whereas I walk into a room, in fact, Melissa, come over here. So maybe you can come right next to me and speak into this mic. Tell everyone about the first time. This is my wife, Melissa, everybody. Hello. So tell everyone the first time you came to a wedding with me and how that felt and what you noticed as different to what you expected.
Well, so before Jerry and I got together, I'm originally from Boston, had my own studio, and I was shooting my own weddings. And my style would be very high energy. So I'd be at the bridal party and everybody, all right, keep everybody's energy up and moving really quickly and going, okay, let's go over here. Okay, now we'll go over here. And that was like my thing. So everything was really happy and full of life and energy. And that was just what I did. And then I shot my first wedding with Jerry, and I was the second shooter, and we came to the bride's house, and that, like, I'd show up at the bride's house and I'd be like ready to go. 2 cameras, locked and loaded. We're walking in and we're gonna start shooting. Jerry, like everything was still in his bag, and I thought we were gonna get everything ready in the car, and he just takes his bag, Goes up to the front door. We go in the house. He's saying hello to the bride, saying hello to the mom, to the aunties.
I didn't use jazz hands while I was doing it, by the way. I'm just
And he's like just introducing himself to all the bridesmaids. And then he says, I'm just going to walk through the house. I'm going to take a look at what the light is doing. And I'm following him, like, amazed. After like 10, 15 minutes, he's going into each room, like opening the blinds, closing the blinds, like what he was saying earlier, turning on the lights, turning off the lights. And I was like, babe, 15 minutes. We haven't taken anything. We got to go. Like, we got to start. And he just was so cool. And then when he was photographing the bride, just taking his time and talking to her softly and then bringing her by the window. And I'm like, man, we like have wasted so much time here. But it occurred to me about halfway through the wedding that the bride and her bridesmaids and the groom, they were all adopting that same energy. So here I am on a wedding day, like, let's go, let's go, let's go, keeping everybody pumped. And I would sometimes struggle to remember what my next pose is going to be because I'm moving so fast. I'd be like, I don't know what to do next. I'm running out of things to do, and I'll still get time. Whereas Jerry is taking his time, and he's thinking things through. And the bride and groom are not just sitting around going, like, does this guy not know what he's doing? Because this is their first time getting married. As far as they're concerned, this is how everybody does it. And I thought to myself, I'm making it so much harder on myself because I'm putting all this pressure on myself to keep that high energy level the whole day. Like if I were to start shooting super fast, super high energy, and then halfway through the day, slow down and take my time doing a portrait, yeah, they'll probably think that there's something going on, that maybe I'm now freaked out. But if you keep that same calm energy level and give yourself time to think things through and take your time with it, couple doesn't know any different. That's just how it's done. So that was like probably one of the biggest lessons I learned by shooting with you. It's
Thank
pretty
you.
cool.
How amazing is she? Everybody? So I like to think of my shoot like a symphony. See, if you start slow and calm, then when you do want high energy, you have something to compare it to, so it's more obvious. Does that make sense? Sometimes I'll have the bride, I'll say, so here's the thing. So one of you could say, lean forward, turn your face left and eyes down. I say that sometimes. Or I could say, just lean forward, tilt your face, turn your face, eyes down. In fact, close your eyes and the count of 3 open. 1, 2, 3. What shot would you get? Does that make sense? Very, very different. So sometimes it may not be what I say that evokes the emotion, it's how I say it that evokes the emotion. And then sometimes I might take a beautiful photo of the bride and I'll say, great, there's one for my wallet, I'll do one for you now. Bang, take the shot. And then you wait for the end of the laugh. Click. So have you ever had a bride with a gummy laugh? Like, you know what I'm trying to say, right? The big teethy gummy laugh. You wait for the end of the laugh. Like you never do it at the peak of the emotion. No. Sound like a bit like a horse too. Click. Before they get passive again. So if you want something softer, that's when you do it. Okay? All right, let me show you now, in fact, an example of my energy and me shooting with the ice light on location at a real wedding. Have a look. Yeah. That's awesome. You're going to dance while you're there, you know? Now, the trick is not getting me in the shot. No, I think you guys need to be where I am. Okay. So Sal, you go that way. Let's come over here. Yeah. Just turn around. Okay, beautiful. Just your hand on his face. A bit more. Just slightly bend the wrist there. Chin up a little bit, darling. The other way. A bit more. Chin right up. Yeah, it's about here. That's nice because it gives you a bit of a kick of the frame. All right. I need you to hold it right here for me, darling. Okay. I'm going to ask the gentleman, excuse me, sir, do you have anything that I could stand on? Like even just the one, like a seat height? Oh, have you got a small ladder? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's awesome. Although I can't see much of your face, even just that twinkle in your eye, that spark is going to make all the difference in this shot. Sort of breathe through your mouth. It just starting to really feel the passion in it. You know what I mean? It's just that weight, you know?
And tippy toes?
Yeah, tippy toes if you can. I know it's going to be tough.
Yeah, no.
Do the best you can. All right, beautiful. Just breathe in there, darling. Breathe in. Breathe in. Bring your thumb closer towards your fingers. There you go. Beautiful. Breathe in your mouth. I want to see some gap there. That's gorgeous. That's it. Now, so I could have spent, I guarantee that most of you would have started photographing a lot quicker than I am. A lot quicker. But I got a couple of shots. I ended up getting 2 or 3 shots. There's my spread for the wedding album. I'm done. And that's it. All right, next one. Many of us have actually backlit with flash, haven't we? Backlit with flash, go bang. You can use the ice light for that as well. Have a look. Now, again, I know this is really unromantic, but you're both going to hold a light to yourselves so you can backlight you. But I'm not going to see it from where I'm standing, okay? So what I want you to do, with the hands that are closest to me, hold each other, but rest your elbows on the actual banister at the same time. That's it. Now bring your hands slightly on his side there. So look at this. See your hands like that? Do it like that. Perfect. Perfect. Bring your lower parts of your bodies closer together so there's no air between you. Now look at each other. Now bring your hair behind you, darling, so I see no hair. See on your neck? No, other side. Yeah, bring it all the way out. Now both of you need to hold the light out at arm's length and facing yourself. Now look at each other. Like literally, that's it, perfect. Chin down, chin up, mate, and drop your right shoulder, mate, if you can. Bring your left elbow down a little bit, away from you. So Robert, look at me. Your elbow, bring it this way. You know, your right elbow. So bring it out. That's it. Now look at each other again. But I want to see a gap between you. So no air between you. Oh. I guarantee you most of you would have actually done your shot quicker than me. There's no doubt about it. But there's no point if it's not right. You see how with every little adjustment, her hand was flat. But then that was a bit softer. The elbow looked a bit crooked. The hair was in front of her. So every little thing makes a huge difference. Guys, good lighting and good posing. You might say, Jerry, what does that mean? I believe good lighting and good posing can be defined in a very easy way. It's either flattering or it helps communicate the message that you're trying to convey to the viewer of the shot. Make sense? That's 14 mil. That's a 14 mil lens, yeah. And it's funny because I put this on social media and someone goes, Jerry, it's so fake, the ceiling. You've made it look too fake. I'm like, it is fake, dude. Like it's a fresco. It's so funny. Yes, mate. How do you learn posing? You know what? You asked that question at the exact right time. Do you hear? Okay. I want you to come to my posing seminar. That wasn't coordinated. That wasn't coordinated at all. Okay, so you guys know about Photo Plus coming up, right? Photo Plus is coming up in a week or two. I am doing a 2-hour posing seminar on October the 26th, Thursday, between 2 and 4. If you like the way I teach, I try to cut the algebra out of photography, what you don't need in real life. I go to the street smart. So what I'll do is I'll be teaching you how to pose full length, bride or girl, guy, couples, groups, odd height couples, plus size bride, plus size groom, plus size couple, odd height couples, big nose, big ears, one big eye, one small eye. Like we'll discuss everything and we'll do a lot of demonstrations. So if you get a chance, for some reason the conference at Photo Plus doesn't really get a good attendance, like strong attendance. Man, come. It's a great environment, and we'll spend 2 hours completely on posing. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, any other questions before we sort of move on? Yes, mate.
I actually wanted to go this way.
Sure. So, brings me to something else that I do. Who's a member of the Ice Society here? Who's a member of the Ice Society? So the Ice Society stands for Inspire, Challenge, Educate. Believe it or not, as of January, it'll be the 10 years I've been actually running this subscription-based photography website. So go to icesociety.com, ICE, ICESOCIETY, icesociety.com, and go there, and you basically pay a subscription fee, and you get to witness. Basically, you're my virtual assistant. So if you that little few minute video every month, I release 6 new categories of a particular, different things. So believe it or not, we're up to our 118th chapter. So when you join, you get the next 12 months, but you get the back catalogue for free. For those of you who are wondering in the room, I've been a bit quiet with my engagement this year. January the 10th marks our 10-year anniversary. We're reinventing the program. Everyone who joins will be grandfathered in as a member. So if you join now, that'll carry over to the new membership. So we're looking forward to really engaging with you and doing some frequent live broadcasts. If you don't know, my wife and I have actually moved to Vegas, so we have a teaching facility where we can actually broadcast and do these kinds of things all the time. So we're really, really excited about doing that. So jump on there, join, and then you'll be grandfathered in, and you can watch me shoot weddings, portraits, fashion, boudoir, a lot of business tips, and all that kind of thing. So we'll be sharing our experience.
This one through Adorama too is just from you, from your eye society.
No, this is part of Photo Plus. This is part of Photo Plus. So definitely, obviously, we've got some more time here still. While we're on the subject, I do want to thank Adorama for supporting this program. If it wasn't for Adorama, we wouldn't be doing this. I said, Jerry, wouldn't it be fun while you're out here in New York to just have a bit of fun and play? I said, absolutely. I love to work with any company that encourages photographers to get better, and they do a great job in educating their actual market and all that kind of thing. Certainly want to thank Westcott as well, FJ Westcott, who've actually supported me personally with creating the Omega Reflector 360 with me and the Ice-Lite with me as well. But now I want to do some demonstrations. Would you like that? Let's, Dave, do we have our model anywhere handy? By the way, guys, if you want to learn more from and about me, if you go to jerryghionis.com, you'll actually find also my Twitter handle, my Facebook and Instagram handles are at Jerry Ghionis. So if you go there, follow me there, as well as if you go to jerryghionis.com, you'll actually link to those sort of sites there as well. All right. Hello. I forgot your name. I got Laurence. That's a beautiful name. Beautiful name. Okay. Very nice, guys. So what we'll do, baby, you want to see if we can hook up the live shooting thing? I don't know if this will work, but we'll see. Who knows? It's a little bit contrasty, so the shots may not be as good as we'd like straight at a camera, but we'll do our best. So grab that, turn that on first. Any questions while I'm multitasking here? Because I can multitask, unlike most guys. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, any questions while my wife's sort of working that out? It can be unrelated. Yes, mate. Is there a preference in using Mac to PC? Every Mac is going to be biased to Mac, and every PC user is going to be biased to PC. We could get into a battle here and a rumble and seeing which is better. I've got to say that PC has actually come an incredible long way since back in the early days, and I think they're giving Mac a run for their money. Certainly, I think creatives are biased to Mac, but they're more expensive, so it just depends on what you prefer, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I see that kind of equipment. Certainly, I'm a Nikon ambassador, so I favour Nikon, but equipment's only, they're tools. They're tools. You make the difference. Like I said, if you want a tool that is robust and rugged and strong and a bit more reliable, all that kind of stuff, certainly I favour. And certainly Nikon for that matter as well, but it just depends. But don't feel like, oh my God, that being Mac will make me a better photographer. That once you go Mac, you never go back. You see? Sure. So what's the best way to do in-person sales? So in other words, how do I do the workflow? Is that what you wanted to ask, or?
Yeah, but what do you prefer, using PC or using Mac?
Well, like I said, I use Mac, but it's only a device. Think of it; it doesn't make a difference really. I mean, certainly I don't do my own Photoshop. I don't. I think it's a waste of my time as a business owner to do my own Photoshop. So I just don't. Mac, like I said, I just find it's a bit simpler. But if you have PC, it works for you. I wouldn't upgrade. I'd rather spend you that $5,000 on marketing, that $5,000 on a better website, that $5,000 on something else that's going to be more fruitful for you. So if you're using what you're using and it's doing well for you, I would say stick with it. You know what I mean? Unless it becomes such a ridiculously better environment or platform to basically make your work faster and stuff, that remains to be seen. Yes, mate.
I just want to ask you about, no, you're a Nikon user. I wonder if you play with settings. It's a standard, vivid, you know, there's a part.
So what picture style, do I use any of the picture styles? I use...
It's like you can make it less contrast.
I understand.
These things.
Yeah.
I wonder if you...
I use the standard picture style, the default setting, and if I do use something a little bit different, I will go black and white. I think the black and white straight out of the Nikon camera is exceptional. I think it's a perfect contrast. It's not too dark, not too light. It's got a beautiful contrast about it. If I'm shooting in a very flat environment, oh, there you go, baby. Look. Then I might go vivid, but very, very rarely. That you can worry about afterwards. The fact, yeah, you can go neutral, go standard, and you can do anything you want afterwards. Yes, mate.
I've got a statement and a question, right?
Sure.
So the statement is the old saying that say, "Give me my flowers while I can still smell them," right? So for me, every time I've seen you, I think I've seen everything. I've learned something every time I've seen you. Like every time I've seen you, I've always learned something new to take with. I appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
So to me, you're my Martin Shimmery. Right? And the question is, how influential was he on your life for what you do now?
So the question was, there's a gentleman by the name of Martin Shembry. How influential was he to my photography? For those of you who don't know, Martin Shembry was a very close friend of mine, and also his son, Ryan Shembry, who you may know, very accomplished photographer in his own right. Ryan Shembry actually shot most of our wedding. I actually photographed the bride's coverage at our wedding. I ended up photographing us in a mirror on our wedding day as well, but Ryan Shembry shot the rest of it. Martin, I traveled with, I've taught with, and he not only influenced me, he influenced a whole generation of photographers. Him and the likes of Yervant and a few others in our industry, they were sort of like the pioneers of bringing digital photography back into the wedding world. Because of the likes of Martin, because of the likes of Yervant, and then me, and maybe a few others that you may know, like Marcus or Rocco, we introduced America really to a very fashionable style of shooting, and let alone introduce digital technology, the post-production, even before digital cameras came into existence. We were the first to scan the images and actually produce digital montages and collages and things like that. So certainly he was a huge influence to everybody. My biggest influence personally, as from a photographer, was Herb Ritz. So Herb Ritz, if you don't know him, you should. He's an incredible photographer. He died, unfortunately, many, many years ago, but his work was very simple, very clean. He was famous for shooting in the bright Californian sun on a white background, and you would see a lot of my work, his influence all over it. And yeah, man, I love it. I love the process of creating. I find it very exhilarating, and certainly, like I said, he's probably my number one influence. But Martin, certainly, he passed away last year or so, and it was just it was sad for the industry. But certainly, it's pretty cool that we get to create something that outlives us. There's not many people who do a job that happens. Don't you think? So it's very cool. All right, let's play, shall we? So what we'll do, I know that the live broadcast won't be that perfect, but at least it'll be good for the audience as well. Can we dim these lights quite dramatically down so we can actually sort of, okay, good. Maybe can it be up a little bit? There we go, just about there. Enough that we can sort of see at least some what we're doing. All right, great. I might get you right off the stairs there, darling. Okay. Okay, so like I said, guys, the cool thing is that you can actually see what you're doing. That's the cool thing. Can you hold that for me for a second? So obviously, if we go out like this, then you see how it's a bit softer on her. It's a bit soft. It's nice and clean. If you want cheekbones, great. You can put this here. Chin up a bit, darling. Great. Obviously, now tilt this face this way and turn your face towards left and tilt this way. That's it. Chin up and tilt and chin up. Okay, great. Don't move. No, I'm joking. See how from this side you're shooting on the short side, let's say, and this side you're shooting on the broad side. Now, turn your forehead towards me. Just tilt like this way, other way. So just mirror me. Turn your face that way. You see how now you guys are shooting on the short side? Yeah. And the cool thing is that it just depends on what look you want. What I'm like about it is that you can simply just hold a light. If you know nothing about light, you simply just hold it. This is considered very masculine lighting coming from one side. Okay, it's more of a guy thing, don't you think? So the way I like to think of light, I think of light like sweet and sour. I think of masculine like sour, and I think of sweet like feminine or pretty. Make sense? Now, gorgeous face, gorgeous girl. This is sour light for her, so to speak. If she wasn't so sweet per se, beautiful features, then that would be bad on her. In other words, there's enough sweetness to counter for it to be okay. For me, I'm masculine, I'm a guy, that's masculine light. I'm not meant to look pretty. Okay. Makes sense? So that's what you need to do. You got to look at it. I look at everything as a metaphor. It makes me understand things just a lot better. Yeah. Obviously, this is ghoul lighting, right? This is not very attractive at all. This is Blair Witch Project type of lighting there. Right. When you get to though, you see how it floods her and it lights her beautifully and it fills in all the gaps, so to speak. It's going to be a lot softer for her. Okay? Or you can simply shine one on one side like this and then one from behind. So you get a separation from the background and so on. At the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong per se. Don't forget, you read textbooks. That was a Jerry Ghionis of 30 years ago just writing a textbook. Does that mean he's right or she's right? Do what you want as long as it rules. I call them common denominators. After 24 years of photographing professionally, if I do this, it most likely will work. And if I don't do this, it most likely will not work, and so on and so forth. Make sense? Yes, mate.
So if you're by yourself, what do you use?
I put this on a light stand.
Okay.
So it has a quarter 20 thread. So let me tell you a bit about the ice light. So you hold that for me just, darling. So it has a quarter 20 thread there or the other side. It has a removable battery. Okay, so you can take it out, you can charge it independently or buy some spare ones, which is fantastic. Also, you can dim it up and dim it down. Okay, so the battery will last over an hour at its brightest setting. So the cool thing is you can dim it up and down. It's flicker free. So if you're shooting with like a 50 frames a second or 24 frames a second at a 50th shutter speed, it won't be a problem whatsoever. And dimming up and down, like I said, you've got the indicator as well. It also has a memory. So for example, if I dim it down to a number 6, if I turn it off and on again, it'll go back at number 6. And like I said, the cool thing is it's actually built in. It's got a chassis in it. In other words, we've dropped this. You go on YouTube and look at Ice Light drop test, and we dropped this off a ladder a few times and it still works because it's actually got a metal bit all the way across. Like there's some, you can get there's plastic versions and all that kind of stuff, and people try to rip it off. And I'm telling you, there's nothing like the original, the Ice Light. It is strong, it's durable, the color temperature is amazing, and it's 96 CRI. CRI is a color rendition index. It's basically how the quality of light is measured, and you won't get much better like that in camera, which is actually really, really beautiful. Make sense? All right, and it does come with a cool little case as well. How does it charge? Yeah, so battery. So you can charge it independent of the putting it in or not. It's AC/DC, which means you can actually charge it while you're using it. The cool thing is it's got a bit of a sheath, so you can put it in, and it's got a strap as well, or you can put it on your belt. Our free bundles, as well as the discount. Is that right? Fantastic. Yeah, so normally it's 500, it's 450, and you get free bundles, another $50 off. So that's pretty cool. And then you can go do a battle. So you put this behind you. Yeah, this is the shield. You put it behind your back and you bring it out, and you're like, I am Sparta. You know, yeah. I have an active imagination, but it's all good. All right, I want to show you something else that's really, really, really fun. The only place that I could do it, ironically, is that projector, is that rear projected? Is that what it is? Or where's that from? Oh, it's on the ground. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so what we'll do, hey, baby girl, can you help me out for a second? I want to just cover that projection, and then I want to use that background for a shot. All right, darling, let's get you over here, sweetie. And have you got the barn doors handy? Sorry, darling. This is what I'll do on a wedding day or a shoot. I'll just look around me and say, well, how do I create a good shot in an environment like this? This is just a studio. It's a cool studio, but it's not really meant to be, for photography. So this is a really cool effect that you can do that makes the shots look really, really cool. All right. So what we do, I'm putting it on accidentally. Put the barn doors on. All right. So you can actually, make a sliver of light or go up and down or whatever you like. So what we'll do, I'm going to get you there, darling, is just over here. So just put 1 foot there, or actually put both feet on there if you can. So just be careful of the equipment.
You want me to?
Stand right up in that little area. All right, you cool? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, now bring the hair off the face a little bit. And if you can, I don't want you to lean up against the actual wall or the screen. I just want you to almost pretend like you are. So just there, bring your hands both together. What I'd like you to do is actually this hand hold here and that hand hold there. I might even crop closer, actually. Let me see. You know what? I might do that. Let me bring this underneath. So bring both those hands underneath the actual thing, and then you can hold that together so like you're cold. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Oh, perfect. There you go. And then chin up a little bit. Guys, the easiest way to pose someone is get them to mirror you. Okay? I can pose every single one of you exactly the same way, all at the same time. Everyone in this room, mirror what I do. Ready? No, don't do that. I just want to see people do it. That's all. All right, baby girl. Mm-hmm. Do you want to turn this on and then give me a nice little sliver of light going right on her? Okay, you ready? Just tilt this way. Tilt. Now turn. Let's get this right up against it. And let's get your fingers in between. So hold it with one. Mm-hmm. Down, down, down. And then, 1 second, go really close to it. And then, and eyes at me, darling. That's great. And then, go a little bit wider. A bit more wider over you. It's great. Beautiful. Chin up. Turn the face this way. Beautiful. Stunning. Okay, so whenever I'm shooting with any light source for that matter, obviously I'll choose the most appropriate white balance. Daylight for the ice light. I'm going to shoot at maybe f3.5. With that light source, I'm probably going to be around about 2000 ISO. And then all I need to do is change my shutter speed. Let's have a look here. Okay, that's good. Let's take the is the projector off? Oh, it's on the side. Oh, there you go. Did you see it? We took the shot. Bang, bang. Now, you might say, how did I get that exposure right straight away? Well, I'm using matrix metering. So what I saw, what the camera sees, if you add her skin tone, that white background, that everything, it was a little bit darker than mid-grey, even though there was a lot of white. Because obviously most of it was in shadow. The camera's going to make it mid-grey if I shot with aperture priority. Therefore, I had to go darker. I had to underexpose by about 2 clicks. Experience told me that, 2 clicks, as in 2/3 stop increments. So I moved my shutter speed finger to the 0 point and then went about 2 clicks towards the minus, take a shot, have a look. If I'm happy, I'm done. Make sure. Now, if I'm shooting for a wedding album, I would take that shot and then now I would take just one more to go with it. Let's do that. Let's do it back again. Now, assuming that Melissa hasn't moved, because I'll blame her if the exposure is bad, assuming that she hasn't moved, I will just use the exact same exposure. Okay? All right, gorgeous. Tilt this way again more. Beautiful. And then eyes up here. Stunning. Beautiful. And then tilt up a little. There we go, just there. Stunning. Don't move the darling. Don't move. Okay. So wouldn't it be cool to put that and the other one in a spread of a wedding album? Would I need to take more shots to get the spread? Either she wants it or she doesn't. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to just take maybe 2. I might take 3 or 4. I might take 4 or 5. If I haven't got any time, I'll just take 2 and I'm done. Are we cool with that? All right. Now let's try something even more difficult. What time we got? Okay, we've still got a little bit of time. All right, girlfriends. I'm going to walk past this area, so if I get feedback, just be careful to put the mic down. So I'm going to start walking in the audience here, just in case. You probably hate people like me who just walk around and do these things. Where's the camera? Hello. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll take this next shot. Well, let me take a couple of shots, and then I can see myself here. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that one. Oh, you have a background. Okay, but you can switch. Okay, fantastic. All right, we'll do now, baby. Let's get 2 of these lights. Let's take some clamshell. All right, over here, darling. Just right over here. Okay, just there. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to have 1 light in the top. Now, if I want, see these lights in the background? Let's say I want that to separate her from the background. I'm going to expose for that first. Let me think. Well, to get those lights would probably be around about 1600, maybe 1250. So I'm going to focus on her first. Okay, so do you see those little background lights? You know, I thought that would be the 4 of them, but the more I look at them, they're cool, but they're just too polarizing. Does that make any sense? I feel like we just go with her, and that's basically it. So what I'll get doing is come 1 step down. All right, beautiful. And now let's get 1 light in the top, 1 light in the bottom. So if that happens, guys, it doesn't matter what exposure is. As in, I don't have to dim it up and dim it down, as long as it's both the same. Now, you see how we need even. We need this. As long as it's the same, if not the top one, like we said, it was even, if not higher. Beautiful. All right. Gorgeous. And I would kill for cheekbones and jawline like that. Do you see that? That's just not fair. See, that's why I have a beard all the time. So I just try to sharpen it up a little bit. You know what I mean? I walk around with the short side on every side of my face, everywhere. I'm not stupid. All right. Go. Let's have a look here. Stunning. All right. All right, darling. Don't worry about the expression too much. Although you're already giving me a beautiful expression. Let me just see which way I go with it. You guys is a lot. You're going to have to use like 400 ISO, give or take. So don't go to 1600 ISO 2000. It'll just be too much. So I know straight away this will probably be around about 400 ISO at 125. 3.5? Let's just see. Let me see. Okay, eyes at me, darling. Hold it there for me. Hold it. Okay, have a look. It's probably a little bit bright. I actually don't mind it because it's actually really soft and beautiful and all that kind of thing, so that can work. Let's turn this off now. That's just there. A little hint of a shadow there is beautiful. Very nice. Isn't it amazing what we do for a living? We photograph beautiful girls and our wives watch. It's just crazy. And then we've got people. It just doesn't. You say it out loud, it doesn't sound right, does it? All right, gorgeous. Tilt this way. Stunning. All right, beautiful. Very nice. Okay, soften the smile. Let it smile there in your face. Chin up, baby, darling. Gorgeous. one I wanted. Well, go again. Go a bit better. So you see how now I'm getting the nice little modeling on the face and everything like that, but you can sort of see how you can see some blemishes in the skin. This is where you either just go with that, go with the shot that you want, fix the skin afterwards, or use softer, flatter lighting. Just depends on what you prefer. Make sense? All right, I'll tell you what. Chad, your turn. Take a break. You're sexy, but he's sexier. Take a seat where he is. All right, now... Okay, let's get another light source. Where was the other light? Let me get one of you.
Now, if he gets this good, you know he's good.
Nice. All right, so keep your hands where they are.
Yeah.
Bring one foot out this way. I want you to hang your body this way. Good, keep it there. Make yourself comfortable. Turn your face down. Okay, now don't move. All right, baby girl. Let's get the light on here. Face this way. All right. Now, look at me for a second. Guys, his right eye is slightly bigger than his left. Don't get a complex. It happens to most people, okay? His right eye is slightly bigger than his left. So I've turned his bigger eye away from and allowed his smaller eye closer to the camera. Very, very important. You bring it back in proportion a little bit, okay? So now... do I stop? Now, I can go split lighting, no problem, but I turn the light, sorry for you guys here, turn the light to a point where his other eye socket is lit. Turn your face more towards me. Stop there. More. Turn this way. That's it, don't move. Just there. You see how both his eye sockets are in light? I move the light until both eye sockets are lit. Okay, baby girl? I know we're catching up with old friends. I know. We're going to hug after. Okay, very good. And now this is in shadow. So first, and then hang your body forward. Good. We want to make sure both. Then we're going to have one light behind. Now turn that off for a second, baby. Whenever you're doing two lights, don't do this. Don't do them together because you won't know where the shadow is properly. Turn that light off. Do this until the shadow goes off his nose. The light goes off his nose. See this? So it's about there. If you go too far, you can do that. But I'm thinking, see that shadow on the ear? I want to either just get it off the ear. Make sense? Either go there, not there, about here or here. Let's go about there. Hold that there for me. All right, go again. Man, you sexy chocolate man, you. Look at you. That's all I'm saying. All right, man. All right, turn your face a little bit to the right, a little bit. That's it, and eyes back at me. Give me a second, man, give me a second. Yeah, I will tell you as soon as I work them out. Let's see, 1 second, give me a second there. Give me a second, not worried about expression yet. Now, a bit bright, hold on. So what we'll do is this. We're going to put this down. A little kiss of light. I'm at 200 speed, f3.5 at 25. So face this way. That's it. Hold it there, man. Okay, eyes at me, dude. Awesome. Love me.
This guy's good.
All right, mate. I love that. That's a lot of fun. All right, man. Let's take this shot here. That's going to be a little more difficult to do, but we're going to do it anyway. Can we? I need something dark on the screen. Let me do this.
On that big screen?
No, on the TVs.
Right.
So I just took a photo of nothing, but then we got the grey. Actually, 1 second. Let me do this. Okay. All right. I'm going to climb in the crowd here right now. Let me think about how am I going to do this. Do we have cameras here? Can, like, if I'm shooting against that wall or this wall, which wall's easier, this wall or that wall? This wall? Like, show me the audience cameras. Okay. Oh, it's not too bad. Okay, where are we here? Let me see. Okay. All right, darling. I'm going to get you. See, go to the second last row. Yeah, so climb. Actually, no, go to the last row. Yep. And I am going to somehow get in there. All right. What, man? I want you to stand on a chair if you can. Okay. Bring the hair back. And actually bring the chair. Okay. Close to this way. So now, put the hole in the donut for me. So the hole in the donut, and then let's get an ice light as well. Right. Um, Oh my goodness, what have I done here? Let me go down. Hold on. Hold on. Whoa, sorry, darling. How fun it is when you can actually, you know, yourself there, darling.
Talking to her.
Thanks, man. Two. All right, fantastic. All right. Yeah.
Participation trophy?
All right, Del. Take a seat there if you like. All right, guys. We're sort of nearing the ending of our presentation here, but I hope you got a lot out of that particular presentation. Like I said, I wanted you at least in the last 2 hours to slowly become obsessed with light a little bit more than location. I think many of us, like I said, we always go for that beauty of the location. I go for the beauty of the light. Now, if a location attracts me, like what we just saw just now, then I am going to create the good light or find the good light. And if I can't, I just simply don't shoot there. There's no point. And if nothing else, we've also taught you how to actually shoot less and nail them better. You know what I mean? Shoot less and nail them better. That's what it's all about. Take your time. Do 2 or 3 shots. You sort of saw as well that those shots that you're seeing on the screen right now, see how I cropped her half her reflection and kept her real face? I could have actually cropped half her real face and then got all of her reflection. I think many of us tend to go for the obvious. We see something and we always go with the obvious. But quite simply, it's all a mindset. If you go out there to achieve something different, you might just do that. If you go out there to actually slow down, you might just do that. Why not get a sticker and print out a label saying slow down and put it on your camera? Then when you put your eye to the actual camera, it says slow down, you know? Or WWJD. What would Jerry do? He would slow down. Okay? Yes, mate.
Situation that I've been trying to do what you're saying, and I had videographer working with. They would make it like big, like scream out of it. Said, oh, you're too slow. You're not letting, like, because of you slow, like, we can work because of you, like, it's been, like, crazy.
So I understand the gentleman was saying that, that he was working with a videographer, a filmmaker, and then he was going a bit slow, and then they were pushing him.
Because he need motions, and said, you stay on one spot.
I understand.
Slow.
So here's what my recommendation is. I told you about the 5 steps to a great photograph. We said 1 was light, location, pose, technique, expression. What you may be missing is expression. Now, she was giving me a very beautiful expression anyway, and she very quickly knew what I wanted, so she gave it to me. Now, here's the thing. When I work with a filmmaker at the start, I'll warmly shake their hand, maybe even give them a hug and say, hey guys, we're in it together, let's have some fun today. Do me a favor. For the first couple of shots, let me direct, and at the end of every shot, I always give you emotion. Trust me, this will be the easiest wedding that you've ever photographed or filmed. Because at the end, all they need is about 3 to 4, 5 seconds, right, of emotion, of movement. If you only do static images, then they're going to want to take over and do their own thing, then you're fighting against each other. So my strong recommendation is, whenever you take a shot like that, get her giggling, get her laughing, get her moving, encourage the filmmaker to be part of that process. And trust me, if you educate them and you become friends with them very quickly, you'll work together for the common purpose of getting a great shot. Because quite simply, there is another seminar happening somewhere in the world with filmmakers complaining about photographers getting in their way or doing static imagery with no emotion. Make sense? We have to work together. I find you can attract more bees with honey, right? More honey than anything else. So, all right. This back area of this room has never asked any questions yet. What about you guys? Where are you here? Yes, mate, over the back there. Wow, that's an important one. Very good one. I would like a built-in lightsaber noise, so when you move it around, that would happen. I think that when we get to that point, I'd probably will make it waterproof. I'd certainly think waterproofing it would be actually really, really good. The nature of just light and technology, it'll get, it'll just get brighter and as it goes on. Quality of the light is fantastic. The make of the light is actually fantastic. So I don't think that the quality of light will improve. I just think that as the chips get a bit better and cheaper and more affordable and better quality, there's nothing. If you buy one now, it's not going to come out in the next month or anything like that. Nothing's going to happen like that anytime soon because the light's quality is amazing. But yeah, waterproofing and naturally brighter if we can do it within the price range. I think will be the obvious ones that we sort of add and everything like that. So yes, mate.
Yeah, I just want to say I enjoyed myself today, and my brother Keith Cephas told me to tell you hello.
Oh, fantastic. I love Keith. Yeah, he's fantastic. Good. Very cool guy. Very intimidating. He's got the muscle. His biceps are the size of my thighs. And he hugs me, and I want to, like, the smile is a nervous smile. It's like, I don't want to die smile. Sort of like when someone's drunk around you and they hug you, and you're like, you don't want that aggressive thing, but I love him to death. He's certainly cool. Sorry, mate. That gentleman.
My question is, this is the biggest, this like biggest time.
So the question was, what's the difference between the Omega Reflector 360 and then the previous one? Now, the very first Omega Reflector that I released, that I invented, had basically a square hole in it. It made sense to me because we use 2:3 ratio cameras, right? Your camera is rectangle. So it made sense that you just miss out the hole and then you can actually shoot through it. Certainly the advantage of the circle is that you can actually have circular catch lights, but then you have to go a little bit in. So there's good and bad. So the first one has the tear out Velcro panels, but they would fold and flip and things like that. So over the years, after a couple of years of using it, I loved it. I think it was incredible, but I thought it'd be fun to have circular catch lights and then make the holes mini reflectors so you get extra value. So we went from the world's first 10-in-1 reflector to a 15-in-1 world's first reflector. So that's the advantage of there. So that's why we've gone to that. So guys, I just want to wind up now. Thank you so much. I want to thank Adorama again. They've always supported the industry. They've been incredible for many, many years. Thanks, Adorama. For being here, you have a voucher for what you've paid to get in here, which not many people would do, companies would do. You can use that money. The gentleman there that's with a computer, you can take any orders that you like for the Omega, for the Ice Light, anything like that. And certainly you've got some other really cool products that I also use. If you look back there, you see the Rapid Box with the big. If you want to modify your speed lights and do it really quickly, hence the name Rapid Box, they're the ones that I actually use on location myself if I want to soften my light source. They're fantastic. They've got specials on those as well as $50 off the Ice Light. You've also got free doors. And then, of course, you've also got the Omega Reflector 360 for the $129 price, and they will ship it to you at their cost. So thank you to Adorama. Also, thank you to FJ Westcott. Westcott have been an incredible brand. When I had an invention, I said to myself, I can do this on my own, or I can go to a company that already does it extremely well. So why wouldn't I team up with, I believe, the leaders in continuous lighting, among many other things. So thanks, Dave and Westcott, for all your support and help over the years. Thank you very much for bringing me here today. Thank you. Thank you. And like I said, guys, if you learn a lot from me, please, I'd love to see you in a couple of weeks. So not this Thursday coming, the following Thursday, we'll be doing a posing class between 2 and 4 o'clock. I know some of you have come overseas for just this 2-hour presentation. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for actually coming, and I appreciate you being here. It means a lot to me that you've come all the way to be with me today. I know many of you have actually grown up with me. Many of you have actually learned from me for many, many years. Makes me feel old. But thank you for supporting me all these years, and I really appreciate that, and hopefully we'll be together another 10 years so we can learn together as well. So thanks again. Thank you. Thank you.